Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today at the Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce. Your presence here is a testament to your commitment to the safety and the well-being of our community. The recent surge in daytime robberies targeting Tamil community jewelry stores in Scarborough and recently in other areas, Markham and Richmond Hill, is deepening alarming. These incidents not only threaten the livelihood of hardworking business owners, but also undermine the sense of security we all strive to maintain. As a community, we must come together, pool our resources, and act decisively to address the issue. This meeting serves as a platform for open dialogue and collaboration. By bringing together law enforcement representatives, city councillors, MPPs, jewelry store owners, and other business leaders, we aim to develop proactive measures to deter such crimes and protect our businesses. I want to express my gratitude to our police representatives and the city councillors, member of provincial parliament, for their ongoing support and willingness to work with us. Your expertise and guidance are critical in shaping strategies that will make a tangible difference. To our business owners and community leaders, your insights and experiences are invaluable in identifying gaps and finding effective solutions. Together, we can create a united front against crime and foster a safer environment for everyone. Let us use this opportunity to strengthen partnerships, enhance awareness, and build a robust framework for safety and security. I am confident that through our collective efforts, we can ensure the safety of our business and the prosperity of our community. Thank you. Next on our agenda, I would like to call upon the Toronto City Councillor, Travail.
Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ariana, Kenana, for bringing the community together. I appreciate your leadership to address what is clearly a very troubling issue within our community. We've seen, I think, more than 5 violent armed robberies in our community in the last couple of months. So thank you, Kenana, Ariana, and the entire CTCC group for bringing and convening this meeting on behalf of Councillor Myers, myself, and Deputy Mayor McKelvey. We are happy to support and be supportive going forward. I want to also appreciate Superintendent Leanne. And Leanne, you have something in common to our community. You have a long last name that others find difficult to pronounce, similar to ours. So I thank your leadership, Superintendent Leanne, and TPS staff here for supporting our community, which is in what is clearly a growing trend, a growing pattern. And all the officers here, thank you for coming out and showing your support. That means a lot to our community. I haven't shared this. I have with 41 Division. I almost became a cop back in 2006. Superintendent Bill, 41 Division. Anyway, so I passed all the tests. I didn't have the vision. So police officers, we appreciate your support. This is an ongoing partnership. The role of a councillor is to bring our community together. This is not the first time city councillors have worked with police on a targeted situation. Our colleague, Councillor Mike Cole, Eglinton Lawrence, about 6 months ago, he hosted a small business forum, he had many, similar to ours, many small businesses having these dash and grab incidents where they would break the window, grab the cash machine or the register and dash out, and they came together and formed a working group. So one of the things that I'm hoping that we establish in terms of next steps coming out of here is a working group so the jewelry store owners, the Chamber of Commerce, our police, and us as councillors can stay in touch to address this, shared best practices, and how the police can be responsive, and how solutions are being advanced going forward. And that's the key element from what we're looking to achieve in terms of next steps and keeping and informing the store owners. There's a lot of positive that we can learn from each other. Our police are versed in the best practices. The Chamber of Commerce can translate, can share and educate the store owners here, but ultimately what we're looking to do is to create a stronger sense of community. So store owners, you should have the freedom to ask questions, to ask for support, and to ensure that your small business, your family's livelihood is being protected. I'd like to close with a few observations and comments. What we're seeing happening is not something in isolation. We have to look at the root causes of what's bringing us here. One in particular is the need for bail reform from the federal government. So that is something that all voices here, I know the officers feel very frustrated with apprehending suspects who are out on bail. That needs to be addressed. Number two, funding for social programs. We have to look at the root causes of violence. Why are these, we saw the arrests from York Region Police yesterday. These are 15, 14, 16-year-old boys. We have to understand what is causing the desire to commit this armed robberies. So we have to address the root causes of violence, and that requires funding from our federal, provincial, and city partners to ensure there's social programs, there are meaningful activities, whether it's education, community centers, programming that appeals to young boys. This wasn't the case 10 years ago, 5 years ago. 14, 15, 16-year-old boys conducting armed robberies. So I'll close on that and underscore that we all have responsibility, particularly not just on bail reform, policing, but also investing in young people to make sure they don't choose these paths. So again, thank you everyone for coming out today. I'm excited and looking forward to the next steps coming out of today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Party Travail. Next in our agenda, I would like to call upon the City Councillor Jamal Myers to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamal Myers, and I am the City Councillor for Scarborough North. I have the unfortunate distinction in that 4 of the recent robberies were all in my ward. This is something that we've been dealing with when I first became a councillor, and I went to my first robbery at Majestic City, and I met with the owner, and what struck me, I guess, was just how devastating it was. It wasn't just the loss of the goods, it was the loss of the sense of security. It was the issues of whether you could find insurance to keep your business going, just because of the type of business you're in. And it was just the frustration that this wasn't our community 10 years ago, as Councillor Canvold said. Like, this is like 15 years ago, you wouldn't think of 16-year-olds committing armed robberies in our community. I saw the videos that have been circulating on social media where at the latest robbery, they actually apprehended the young men that were committing these robberies. And what struck me is just, they were so young. Something is happening with our kids that we don't fully know. There is the issue of bail reform in terms of, the police catching people and these people being out almost the next day. But I think we also have to look at something more fundamental and long-lasting in terms of what are the investments that we're making in our children, where they're taking these paths where 10 years ago, this was just unthinkable. So I think I'm glad to see everyone here. I'm glad to see Superintendent Papazuski here. I got it right. MVP Benagalasam, and of course Markham City Councillor Nathan. We're all here. We're here to listen. We're here to do whatever resources we can provide to just help solve this issue, because this is not going to be an issue where just the police can solve it, or just the councillors or MPPs can solve it. This is going to be an issue where we're all going to have to work together and find a strategy that works for the entire community. So I'm here to listen, and I'm just very, very pleased to see so many people coming out to listen and learn and speak about this important issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Myers. Next, I would like to ask Superintendent, Toronto Police Superintendent Leon Papazuski, the 42 Division.
Thank you. Thank you very much. As he said, my name is Liam Papazuski, and I'm the superintendent over at 42 Division. And 42 Division is North Scarborough area, Markham Road, Olympic Park, and Steeles up to the 401. So, and much like the councillor said, there's been quite a few robberies in our Division 6, specifically that we're going to talk about since October 30th. But first off, before I even get into those and how we're going to respond to it for the police perspective, I'd like to thank the Canadian Tamils Chamber of Commerce for holding this meeting today, as well as all of our representatives. First of all, thank you to the President, Ari Arian, and did I pronounce that correctly? To the Toronto City Councillor Parkey, to Councillor Myers, to Councillor McKelvey, who couldn't be here today, but certainly she reached out to me as well on behalf of the community, and the MPP, BJ. I'm not going to say your last name, BJ. Certainly, I've seen them at many community events, and each one of these councillors and representatives always come up and represent the community. They seem to be on their phone 24 hours a day and very accessible to me as a police superintendent. So I really appreciate the work that they do on behalf of the community. And when I talk about the community, like we hit back to some of the things that the previous councillors have said and the president has said about the concern about the people who are committing these types of violent acts. And we talk about crime prevention, and we talk about rehabilitation of people who commit it. It brings me back to like Sir Robert Peel about the principles of policing and crime prevention, and where we say that the police are the public and the public are the police. And it's really reflective here. Like our police officers are public members. We're community members. We have family. We have children and spouses and stuff that work in retail. Like my entire family worked in retail. I was in retail before I was a police officer. So it's really reflective of us. And when I say that the public are the police, we need your help. It's a shared responsibility for community safety. And I know that the councillor had mentioned that. And for just by showing up today, it shows that you have a shared responsibility and concern for the public safety in general. So I want to thank each and every person for being here today. It's a lot longer of an introduction, but I feel it's really important for me to talk about it. So, like I said, I'm in charge of 42 Division. We have over 200 officers that serve this community, but we also have officers here present today that serve the entire GTA. I'd like to thank York Regional Police for bringing representatives, and if you just want to like raise your hand so people know who you are here today, and I know we have a uniform officer in the back. With me and my team here today I have Inspector Joe Mattis of the Hold Up Squad who will be speaking to the actual investigations and some tips in regards to crime prevention strategies and what to do for robberies and what the trends are that we're seeing in the City of Toronto, as well as the Acting Detective Sergeant Amanda Annette. So both of those two officers will come speak after me. In the back, we have Police Constable Chris Mitchell of 42 Division. He's our crime prevention officer. So he's available to help with crime prevention through environmental design audits. And what that is really tips and suggestions and crime prevention suggestions for how to better protect yourself as retail owners and better protect yourselves as member of communities, of what you can do and what physical changes that you can make or security changes that you can make to your setup. So we offer that service at 42 Division, and it's really offered across the City of Toronto at every other division as well. And also with him is Arjinder Gill. He is our crime prevention officer for all of the City of Toronto and specifically for the Hold Up Squad. So he oversees our crime prevention program for all of our divisions, and we work collaboratively with other services. I know much what the councillor said, that it's not just a Toronto problem, it's something that we're experiencing throughout the GTA. Also in the back too, and I'm gonna have my other officer, we have a Tamil speaking officer today. So if English is not your first language and you need some assistance in what we talk about, we have an officer who can, and I don't wanna butcher your name, so if you wanna say it out loud. Yeah, so he's available as well, if you have any questions. So what we'll do, we'll be available for questions and answers afterwards. I know that there was some concern. The Councillor Myers talked about the apprehension of two individuals where community members actually apprehended these two youths. The inspector will speak a little bit more about it, but these two youth, I understand the concern of the community and being on edge after experiencing violent robberies. But these two youths were not involved in that at that particular time. I do caution community members for acting. They were held, and I did see the video, and I do know that there was weapons used, and that there's they were already held at that point. So you have to, by us coming here today and talking about the issues, we have to also talk about what you can do under Canadian law and what is determined as excessive. When the Councillor Myers talks about what happened at Majestic City, there was also another circumstance there where somebody was held and his leg was actually broken by the community members that were there. We want to protect you as well. That now means if you commit a criminal act in holding someone back and excessively, you could be charged. So coming here today and having the opportunity to ask questions is really, really important. So those two individuals were not directly involved in the robbery that happened just previous before. And again, I'll refer that over to the inspector when he comes and talks. So part of the things that I also want to talk about today is reporting to police. So you have the officers here. You can contact us at 42 Division. If there's something is an emergency, you can call 911. And please call 911 and please report things to police, even if you feel like it's minor in nature. It's really important for us to respond and to have a good idea of the criminal activity and the trends that are happening. The reason I say that is because what I do weekly and daily is I look at the crime trends in the divisions, and I deploy our officers appropriately to where the crime is happening. If I don't know what's happening and then at the volume or the frequency that it's happening, I'll be deploying our officers in other areas. So it's really important to report to police. If you're not comfortable reporting directly to us, there's always the means of Crime Stoppers where you can report anonymously. I also have community members that will take your information and relay your concerns. And Suku, I'm just going to point you out. We have a community member here that he meets with us monthly as part of our Community Police Liaison Committee. And certainly he relays the concerns of your community and sends us information. So that is important as well. So I think that's all. I'm gonna wrote a couple of notes here. Again, I would like to thank you very much for coming today. And I'm going to turn it over, and both the next two speakers will be together, I assume. So without further ado, if that's okay, President,
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce Inspector Joe Mattis and Detective Sergeant Amanda Panetz. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just pull up one thing here. My name is Joe Mattis. I am the inspector in charge of the Toronto Police Hold-Up Squad. Hold-Up Squad's mandate is basically to investigate all robberies within the city of Toronto. I know we also have our colleagues here from the York region, and they'll speak on that. But what a hold-up is for the Hold-Up Squad, it's considered a robbery. So things that we're talking about, whether it's your jewelry store, a bank, a retail variety store, all of those are considered robberies. I'm going to stick to jewelry today because that seems to be the topic. First of all, I'd like to thank the Canadian Panels Chamber of Commerce for this meeting, member of Provincial Parliament, our city government officials, and Superintendent Liam Papazuski for this. You don't know how grateful I am that these type of meetings exist. I've been scrambling at the beginning of this week and last week trying to create something regarding jewelry store robberies. And when I got the call from Ganesh to say, can you speak at this event? I'm like, absolutely. And I showed up here because half my work is already done. So this is a great experience for us to get people together, to get people talking. We are in conversations with the Canadian Jewelers Vigilance Alliance and other corporations. And that's really what it's about. It's about getting groups of people together from all levels of government, from business, from citizens to business owners, and getting them to talk about solutions that each person can do so that we can all support each other to make a safer community, make your businesses prosper, and make our job a little bit easier, right? So what I can tell you as far as stats before I turn it over to Detective Sergeant Amanda, and that is that so far in Toronto this year, we've seen 43 robberies for jewelry stores year to date. Last year, we had 21 jewelry store robberies year to date. So yes, we have seen an increase. That's a 105% increase year to date from last year to this year. We're aware of that. I will be taking some questions after. But I'll turn it over to Detective Sergeant Amanda Panetz now, and then we'll move on with some of the other things that we'll discuss.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm honored to be speaking in front of you. When I first went to the Hold-Up Squad 4 years ago, this was part of the division that I did as a member of Team 4, which is 4 district, 41, 42, 43. So I'm glad to be part of this conversation, and to echo what the superintendent and what the inspector said, we can't do this without you. Obviously we have our role, but as community members and shop owners, proprietors, you guys need to help us so that we can help you. We're going to talk more about prevention strategies, I think, later on, so I don't want to kind of take up too much time with that, but we are actively looking into exactly this on a daily basis. We see it, this is our bread and butter, and we have also dealt with this same situation but with different entities. So 2 years ago it was pharmacies, 2 years before that it's cell phone stores. So this is what's happening right now, and we're here to help you. So we are actively doing our part, and we're looking forward to helping you guys do your part too, and giving you some strategies, giving you some pointers. And I understand that not everybody's in a mall. You might be in a strip mall or your wherever your store is. There's strategies that you can implement too on your behalf to make your place safer, and to get your landlords as a tenant, get them involved. Get as many people as you can involved. Like the people that you have here today is great, but we all need to work together, and that's why we're here. So thank you for showing today. We look forward to the questions when they come, and we're going to do our part so that we can help you.
Thank you, thank you. Next on our agenda is I'd like to invite MPP Vijay Thanigasaram to say 3 words.
Hello everyone. First off, I would like to thank Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce, 42 Division Superintendent, York Region Law Enforcement, Police, Detectives, Inspectors. Thank you for your service, and thank you for being here. I've been hearing stories, I've been watching videos. Either it's a business breaking, jewelry shop, auto theft, gun on the head, in their house. So there's a story in my riding of Scarborough Park. 5 people got into the house, guns on all the members' heads. A 12-year-old was sleeping. He woke up with the gun on his head. He has never seen a gun before in person, other than the video games. They took the jewelries, took the car keys, they're gone. That young boy, he couldn't sleep for nights. This is not just one story. All the business owners and even families with kids, they are in fear. I think today's event is mainly focused on the jewelry shop business break-ins that have been taking place. I want to highlight what's happening in the provincial government. There are 3 levels of government: federal, provincial, and municipal. I am part of the provincial government, Ontario government, under the leadership of Premier Ford. We are tough when it comes to any crime, whether it's auto theft or business break-in or to keep community safe. Premier Ford, Minister Kirchner, Solicitor General, and Associate Minister Graham McGregor for auto theft and bail reform. We are focused on to make sure we not just bring investment, to bring all the tools to our law enforcement so that they can do their job, but also we are tough on legislation. We brought regulation, and we brought more investments to make sure this the new legislations are implemented. And we all know in Ontario, Premier is tough on crime. But that is not enough as we are speaking today. The reason that is not enough is because when a police officer catches someone with an illegal gun or illegal drugs, before the police officer even finish the shift, they are out on bail. ஒரு ஆள் வீட்டுக்கு முன்னால வந்து கதவை தட்டி பெல் அடிச்சு நெத்தியில துவக்க வச்சு கார்க்கு ஏன் வீட்டில் இருக்க நகையம் எடுத்துட்டு போய் அவரை கையும் களமா பிடிச்சால், அதே நாள் பிடிபட்டவர் கன்னோடு பிடிபட்டால், இல்லாட்டி ஒரு சட்ட விரோதமான ஒரு போதைப் பொருளை பிடி வச்சால் அதே நாள் வெளியில வர. அதான் இங்க நடந்து கொண்டிருக்க பிரச்சனை. வகையில் இந்த முழ குற்றம் இழைக்கிறவர்கள் பிணையை எடுத்து வெளியில வந்து கொண்டே இருக்கணும். திருப்பியும் அடுத்த நாள் போய் ரோட்ல ஒரு ஜுவல்லரி ஷாப்ல அவர்கள் போய் பிரேக்கிங் பண்ணினமோ, அந்த கன்னும் ஒரு இல்லீகல் கன். அதுக்கு பிறகு அவியல் தப்பிச்சு போற யூஸ் பண்ற காரும் ஒரு வீட்ல இருந்து இன்னொரு வீட்ல இருந்து திருடிட்டு போன கார். So police keep on arresting these people and they are out on bail before the officers shift over. So that's the reality right here, and that's why we Premier Ford went to microphone, open in the media, asking the federal government, we have to implement the bail reform. Full stop. நாங்கள் ஒன்டாரியோ கவர்மெண்டா மக்களா ஸ்கார்பரோல இல்ல மார்க்கம் டூரம் யோக் ரீஜன் நாங்கள் கேட்டுக்கொள்றது என்னடா மத்திய அரசிட்ட இந்த முழமுழ குற்றம் செஞ்சு கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள நீங்கள் பிணைய கொடுத்து அதே நாள் வெளியில விடாதீங்க. அதைத்தான் நாங்கள் கேட்டுக்கொள்றோம். அது மட்டும் இல்லாம இந்த இல்லீகல் கன்ஸ் அங்கேருந்து வருது, இந்த இல்லீகல் ட்ரக்ஸ் அங்கேருந்து வருது, இது எல்லாம் சவுத் ஆஃப் த borderல தான் வருது. So we are urgently asking, again this is not secret, it's already up on media. Premier took to the microphone in every instance seeking the federal government's attention. You got to stop getting the illegal guns into Canada, because 90% of the handguns in Ontario used in a crime were unlawfully smuggled from the United States into Canada. 90%, 90% கைத்துப்பாக்கி இந்த ஜுவல்லரி ஷாப்பா இருக்கலாம், கார் தெஃப்டா இருக்கலாம், இது 90% எங்க இருந்து வருதுன்னா போர்டர்ல இருந்து வருது. அந்த போர்டர் பாதுகாக்கிற மத்திய அரசு பெயில் ரிஃபார்மை நீங்கள் செய்யணும். அதோட நீங்க செய்ய வேண்டியது போர்டரை நிப்பாட்டும், போர்டர்ல பாதுகாப்பை நீங்கள் கூட்டும். இது ஒரு ராக்கெட் சயின்ஸ் இல்ல, இது ஒரு பேசிக் ஆஸ்க் ஃப்ரம் த பீப்புள் ஃப்ரம் த ஒன்டாரியோ கவர்மெண்ட் as well. இப்போ எங்கட ஒன்டாரியோ கவர்மெண்டால from the provincial side, what we have done is, when it comes to auto theft, we have invested over $134 million to purchase new tools, new vehicles, new helicopters. We bought 5 new helicopters. And when it comes to the court system, we are investing over almost $112 million to prevent the repeat violent offenders, to use the justice system as a revolving door. They come in, they go out. Morning they come in, even go out. But we are pouring millions, I'm talking 112 millions to the system, and 134 millions to more tools to support the cops. But without changing the federal criminal code, we will continue to invest money and cops will continue to chase and catch, but those who are caught red-handed with an illegal gun or illegal drugs should be inside. They should not be back on the streets. That's the exact message I want to echo today on behalf of Scarborough Ridge Park. Because we have heard, I'm sure the law enforcement, correct me if I'm wrong, some of the jewelry shop thieves that use the stolen cars to commit their crimes. And that's why we need to have the auto theft reform as well. And the Canadian justice system is definitely at this point is weak. And the carjackers, they know the system. They know the loopholes. They know exactly where the federal criminal code is. That's why they are trying to take advantage of the system. And that's why we have to reform that. But moreover, I want to highlight what are this government, the provincial government, what are we doing? So I'll tell you. So from 2018 to 2022, first when we came to this government, we saw there is a gap in investment to fight gang and gun violence. So we have invested $25 million to fight the gun and gang violence. And starting 2022 to 2023, we invested additional $15 million to combat gun and gang violence. And from 2022 to 2025, for not just for this is for Toronto, for overall in Ontario, we invested $72 million for the community safety and policing grant. and with over 13 million focusing allocated for the centralized shooting response team. Not just that, we have invested 300 million in combating auto theft to create the first of its kind in the nation, an auto theft prosecution team, and enhance the court resources and prosecute criminals system that actually profit the stolen vehicles. So we're trying to bring money into the system to enhance the system. Not just that, wait for this. So we are preparing the resources, human resources in the court system. We invested $29 million to appoint new judges, new crown prosecutors, அதாவது புதிய நீதிபதிகள், புதிய அரசு வழக்கறிஞர்கள், new staff, பணியாளர்கள். Or almost 29 million just to have the human resource ready when the federal government change bail reform. So the new judges, new crown prosecutors are ready. We have invested the money and the tools are given to cops. They are on the front line, midnight, early morning, you call it, they are there. But what happens to those people that got caught with illegal guns, illegal drugs? What happens? They are out. How come they are out? We do have to change the bail system. And number two, we have to secure the borders. As I mentioned, 90% கைத்துப்பாக்கி இந்த illegal guns borderல தான் வருது. யார் அந்த border protect பண்ணணும்? The Canadian Border Services. மத்திய அரசாங்கம் அதை பார்க்கணும். So இவ்வளவு $1 million இறக்கி கொண்டிருக்கும் போது இப்போ ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இங்க பாப்போம், இவ்வளவு பேர் நாங்க வந்திருக்கிறோம். ஸோ நாங்க யார்கிட்ட போய் கேட்க போறோம் இந்த பெயில் ரிஃபார்ம், நாங்க பெயில ரிஃபார்ம் பண்ணணும். We have to. I think this is a good opportunity for the community, and thanks to the president of Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce for arranging this with our law enforcement officers so that they get to engage with the owners and also the citizens. The auto theft, breaking into the house, is impact everyone. So it's a good opportunity for us to have the dialogue. But we have to be crystal clear. Who's responsible for bail? Who's responsible for border service? Is federal government. And who can invest money? Provincial government. And what are we doing? I just list all the millions and millions of dollars. So I hope we come to a conclusion to see where we can go as a community next. But it is our opportunity to thank the law enforcement officers for their service day in and out, because it's not easy. Because they are doing their job. I heard from my riding, the cops in my riding, BJ, before my shift finishes, some folks are out. So I will finish there. And lastly, I want to mention another story in my riding. This is south of the 401, so it's 43 divisions area. One car was stolen. Police caught that. They brought the car back. Same week, individuals walked into the street, got the same car, they out. I heard stories, some families, they have Apple tags in their car. And they somehow find that in the Montreal or Quebec, some port. And they try to go there. And these family members who are the real true owners of the car got arrested for the trespassing. But how come these cars are going offshore to other countries? What happened to the border service? Where is federal government? I'll finish off. But thanks to everyone, thanks to the organizers, thanks to the community members, and of course, thanks to all the law enforcement officers.
Thank you, Minister Taniya Salam. In fact, we did invite federal MPs, but they never showed up here. It's very unfortunate. Okay. On our agenda next, I would like to invite Markham Councillor Ward 7, Janita Nathan, to say a few words.
Ariana. Thank you. I don't really want to take up too much time. We'd rather hear from the police officers. Bail reform is not that simple. If an accused meets the criteria, or if they do not meet the criteria, the judge must release them. So it's not very simple as we think. So when we're looking into bail reform, it's important that we look at it from a perspective that an innocent person doesn't get detained or wrongly punished. So that's why a lot of people get released a lot of the times. A lot of these are with the federal government, and it's very unfortunate nobody's here today to talk a lot about that. But in my community meetings with the police, York Region Police, we've delved into a lot of these. There's a lot of police chiefs that have gone and made deputations in Ottawa asking for certain things. So one of them is for the border security. So when a container leaves the port after 72 hours, they could change the contents of the container. For example, if a container goes out today saying there's furniture in it, 72 hours after, they could change that into cars when they're in international waters. So that's how they get away with transporting all these cars to other countries. So things like that. So there's a lot of changes that need to be made. It's not one simple thing. And the police officers are correct. There's trends in the community. It happens with the economic conditions of the country at the time. We've had bank robberies at times. We've had break-ins, we had car theft, and now we're at jewelry stores right now. So that's what we're gonna deal with, I guess, this year or this time. I would close with this, and there's gonna be more community meetings, so just we could educate public on how to keep themselves safe. Maybe we should clean up our garages and actually put the cars inside instead of using it as a storage, right? So using things for what it's intended for, locking up things and putting extra safety precautions. It may keep us safe. Of course, it's not gonna keep you safe if somebody knocks on your door and puts a gun to your head. But also it's important for us to look at those kind of traumas as well, because those will stay with you for a long, long time. So this is a collective effort from the community that we need to deal with this, and I want to thank Canadian Tamil Chamber of Commerce for making this effort to bring so many people together to talk about this today. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Councillor Nathan. Next, I would like to invite Constable Dave Wong from York Regional Police to say a few words. Sure. Darren and Dave.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Detective Constable Darren Wong. This is my partner, Detective Constable Dave Wong. We're with York Regional Police 5 District, so that's the Markham detachment. We're part of our property crimes unit. So primarily, our team's responsible for break-and enters and vehicle thefts, which is something that Councillor touched upon earlier. We also do involve ourselves with jewelry store robbery investigations. As you probably saw in the news over the past couple of days, the one that happened at Markham Mall, our team was actually one of the first ones on site. I'm not going to talk too much about the investigations and what YRP is doing. We share a lot of the similar capabilities as our brothers and sisters with TPS. So they've already sort of touched upon that. We also do have a hold-up unit. Unfortunately, they weren't able to attend today, but we're going to be attending on their behalf. We're here to offer our support to the community, especially to Markham and Scarborough, because that's the areas that we protect. We are out there every day, every night. We have 2 property crime teams, and we try to have coverage as much as we can throughout the day and evenings. Once again, we're looking for the public support, reporting the incidents to us, either small or large. They're all important to us because, as the superintendent was talking about, it's the crime trends. We need to identify these trends. We need to address them as soon as possible. We need to get ahead of the crime. And I know that a lot of people are fearful of reporting to police because of repercussions. I've heard that from some complainants as well. So I can't stress enough that we do offer a service called Crime Stoppers. That is anonymous. We do review every single Crime Stoppers tips, and they are looked into. So they're not just stashed away.
Thanks, Mayor. Good afternoon. I'm just looking around the room. First of all, thank you very much for inviting us. So even though, with regrets, our hold-up unit couldn't be here, I'm actually very glad to be personally here. Even though I've been personally informed of this meeting sort of quite recently. So I show up and I have no sort of preconceived notion as to what this meeting is really going to be about. But I'm sitting here listening to everybody here. I'm looking around the room. So just prior to me becoming a police officer, I've worked with many of the members of the community that I see around me because I used to work for a theater for performing arts, and I deal with a lot of community members from the Tamil community. And my personal understanding of the Tamil community is the community works hard. They're family oriented, and they will do everything they can to protect their family and their loved ones. And so while I'm listening, we have our partners from the TPS and other law enforcement agencies, and hearing the counselors talk about the recent crime trends, and I'm hearing a lot of very positive feedback, and I'm encouraged by that. But what I do want to talk about is, I think we know that police officers are going to do everything we can to do our job and apprehend the bad guys and bring them in front of the justice system. And while I'm not going to comment too much on how that's going in terms of what the justice system is doing, what I do want to concentrate on is the safety of the community members. At the end of the day, I think it's never a good feeling having somebody invade your place of business, something that's going to affect your livelihood, somebody coming in here and taking things from you. So it's very easy for members, me myself, I have family members who are into retail business, and they tell me if somebody comes into their store and they're trying to rob them, and this is something that you're going to be wanting to protect because that's your livelihood and you want to provide for your family, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with emotions and put yourself at risk. What I want to talk about is, remember this, you are going to be more important to it than anything else inside that store. I'm not saying that we should let them do it. We will catch them and we will do our best to catch them and hold them accountable. But remember, your safety is priority number one. So I'm sure that our crime prevention officers will have a lot of tips to tell you to keep you safe. But I personally want to get the message across is, you are the priority. Your safety is the priority. If you're going to be in a situation where your safety is going to be at jeopardy, remove yourself from that first. And police will do everything in our power to come and apprehend these people, hold them accountable, but remember, your safety comes first. Thank you very much for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you for the kind advice. Thank you very much. So next, of course, I'd like to call upon Senthuran Punithavel from Corporators Insurance to speak about the importance of having an insurance for all of your commercial store, jewelry store, or any commercial industry. You should have the insurance. So, Senthuran, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm really appreciative for CTC for actually organizing this. I think it's...
Thank you, Senthuran, for that informative speech. Then Senthuran was one of our sponsors. He continuously sponsored chamber. Next, I would like to open it for question and answers. இங்கே தமிழ்லையும் நீங்கள் questions கேட்கலாம். We have a microphone பின்னாலையும் இருக்குது. We have Tamil interpreters, even police also have a police interpreter, and we also have our executive director, Kate Kiruba, also can interpret. So please feel free to ask questions, and their officers and everybody there. I don't know whom the question is going to be directed. So feel free to stand up or answer them. Thank you.
I could just make a comment to start. I feel like that presentation was excellent from cooperators, so thank you very much. Oh, he's talking now, probably getting new business. So thank you very much for your presentation. One of the things that you mentioned in your presentation is that the difference between a mall and a strip mall, and many of our retail establishments here that we might be talking about are strip malls. So there's ways to protect those businesses, as in there's different trends on how those businesses are victimized as opposed to those in the mall. So I might head it over to the inspector here just to talk about putting up alerts and stuff like that, and what the trends are in relation to that.
Sure, thank you very much. First of all, I'd like to say I love the passion in this room. We've heard a lot of people speaking today, and there's a lot of passion about this subject here that'll help solve your problems and our problems. So by working together, we can do this. Has anyone seen the news this morning about what happened in Ancaster, just outside of Hamilton? So that happened to be a small strip plaza where a pickup truck backed into the front of the jewelry store, and Hamilton police subsequently caught the suspects who were involved in that and recovered some property. I'm not going to get into that because that's not really our jurisdiction, but that's what I'm trying to demonstrate, is that for your strip mall plazas, they're vulnerable in a different way because of vehicle attacks. You don't get that generally in a large mall like the Eden Center or Sherwood Gardens or something like that, because vehicles can't physically penetrate into that space. If you're talking about a strip plaza, what I would be suggesting on that, and this is for you, your property management, or any other organization that governs the maintenance of that plaza, is installing some barriers. And these can be as simple as concrete planters that flowers are put in, that separates the sidewalk area between the parking area. It can be steel or concrete parking bollards, which can be just a concrete post or a steel post filled with concrete. Again, something to protect the pedestrians and the clients of your shop, and as well your shop itself, because that vehicle will now no longer be able to launch itself through your window, because a truck going through your window, even if there's bars on it, they will get in. So you have to install something that will prevent a vehicle from attack. That answers the question?
It was really a comment there. And
all right, so we're going to open, sorry, Superintendent, we're going to open the questions for the public. By the way, so we only have until 5:30 for this room, so we all have to be out by 5:30. So I want one person, one question, and please say your name and which company are you from, and your question.
So thank you CTCC for organizing this, and being in Canada, having such a meeting, calling a democratic country, it's totally regrettable. I think we all came from a different country to have a peaceful environment, run our business peacefully, sleep peacefully at the night. But right now, we, the taxpayers, are still in danger. We can't sleep, we can't work, and we can't take our savings outside and walk freely. I represent Kanagambigai. We have 3 stores in Scarborough. All 3 stores were broken in, and this happened a year back. And after that, right now, in the last 2 months, almost each of the jewelry stores are being broken in, and it is all less than 18 years of age people. The 2 persons who broke in, who took the jewelry, not only took the jewelry, they hurt the people, they hurt the employees, and nobody is coming to work with us again. Because this is being the most risky job than police or fire rescue or anything. Working in a jewelry store, we're not worried about the valuables, which insurance or anything can replace, but what about the lives? Anyone working for us, it's a mandatory to at least save their lives, right? And this thing happened last year. We wrote to the city, we talked with MPs, and they all tell one thing is about the Bill C-48. I doubt if most of them don't know about it. Anyone under the age of 18 who's doing a criminal activity cannot stay in a jail. If they stay in a jail, the next day they can go back to their parents. That is what the Bill C-48 is. And I heard the city is investing thousands and millions of money, and a lot of justice and new judges are being implemented. It is not that we want. We want a new rule, new law, which can prevent all of us. You can send as much as money you want, nothing is possible. And one more thing I wanted to talk to the superintendent. The response time of police is more than 21 minutes. Last time, when the broken happened, there was a guy less than 18 years with a gun hurting all our staffs. We called out the police. 911 took at least 12 minutes to analyze this, whether it's an emergency or non-emergency. And after they did, it almost took 20 minutes for police to come after we called 911. And one of the officers told that most of the police officers are being used for taking people on emergency to the hospital, being with them throughout they are being discharged from the hospital, which is more than 5 to 6 hours. Hospital is not that fast, as you all know, and we don't get a proper response for any emergency situations. And I want you all to address this as soon as possible, and I please request the municipal government or the provincial to fight with the federal government, because when we can fight for the Mexican or LCBOs, and I think our premier or mayor can fight for the safety of our people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your comments and questions. So, first of all, I'd like to just ask a couple of questions in relation to your, you said 3 times that your store was victimized. Was that break-and-enters? Well, one was clearly a robbery. So, you might need the mic back. Was that break-and-enters, or one was clearly a robbery?
Yeah.
So 2 break-and-enters and 1 robbery?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And one more thing, we also have other businesses which we need a social meeting for it, which is being affected, and we've talked to the city, we have written emails to the division. There's another incident that is happening, and we're all aware of it. A lot of gun shoots towards the theater and malls. We need to sit and talk about it. I don't want to interrupt this with that, but that is also an important thing we need to discuss.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go through each comment and each thing that you brought up, because there was, like I said, there was statement and then questions at the end. So in regards to the break and enter and the robberies, I do have my crime prevention officer here. Sorry, over there in the corner, and we can provide what I mentioned earlier in my introduction is crime prevention through environmental design. And I can also just bring your attention to a recent document that we worked with. I work with the OACP, which is the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police Crime Prevention Committee, as well as the Retail Council of Canada. And what we have done is we've put together a guide for store owners and retailers for all different criminal activity that affects you, and just different things that you can help harden your business by just doing some crime prevention techniques. And in it talks about types of incidents, robbery, break and enter, fraud, shoplifting, suspicious individuals, lockdowns and active attackers, and so on. So it gives some guidelines, not only for the retailers and stuff, but for the employees. My heart actually goes out to you when I hear about what the employees went through. There's some things that we can do beforehand and some things that we can do afterhand that I'm going to speak about. So at our most recent meeting with the OACP Crime Prevention Committee, I actually asked for this guide to be translated into many different languages, and I've called upon the Retail Council of Canada to assist. So right now we have it on English in English, and I can send it out as a link to the organizers and to the Canadian Tamils Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. So that can help us there, and like I said, I can assist you with some crime prevention and environmental design things. In regards to the arrests, I think you're referring over to Bill C-75, where we're directed to release people, and there's different directions as well, and there is also C-75. So that is a concern, and certainly the MPP spoke, or you spoke very much about bail reform and stuff that definitely everyone here can lobby our government agencies to make change. That will assist us. The next thing you spoke about was response time. And I understand the concerns of the community. I know what it's like to be on the other hand to make a call and the police not being available right away. There are several factors. We as a service are speaking about this every single month at our Toronto Police Services Board meeting, and those are public meetings where you can see the progress on how we're dealing with responding to emergency calls. There's many factors that are considered, and one of them is one that you mentioned in relation to apprehending people in crisis. We are directed under the Mental Health Act that if someone's going to hurt themselves or others, that we have to apprehend them and bring them to the hospital for them to get care. And we're directed to bring them to scheduled facilities. Unfortunately, there's several different factors that are in effect here that we can't just drop them off at the door. They have to accept them, and they have to be seen by a doctor informed. We are making inroads to make changes where we're asking for changes to the Act. We're asking for hospitals we're putting our special constables in hospitals to receive those people, but when they're going to harm themselves and others, we are compelled to be there. So unfortunately, that does take our resources, and we're drawn thin that way. So again, it's somewhat of a budget question. It's a deployment question. Our deployment of people, 42 Division, is the largest geographic footprint in the city of Toronto for a division. There's 17 different divisions, and our division is quite large, and we have officers that are brand new on the job and getting to different calls. So it's all these factors take into account for our response times. We have also started a campaign for when to call police. There are times that people call police where it can be dealt with better with different social services. There's 211 for mental health and people in crisis, and there's 311 for something that the city can deal with. So we're trying to reduce the amounts of calls. We are up, I don't know the exact numbers, but we're certainly up on our calls for service. And if they're directed the appropriate way, then our officers can get to these emergency calls. So I hope that answered that question. And then lastly, you spoke obviously about a concern that we have within this community in regards to shootings. I would be happy to speak with people. We go where the evidence lead us. All of those investigations are first and foremost because of the level of violence, because of the acts of using guns in it, and concern for community safety. Much like the holdups, we have a centralized shooting response team that is responsible for those, but I'm responsible for the deployment of officers within our division. So we work together. We look at the analytics as to see where things are happening, and I deploy officers there. So hopefully that answers all of your questions and comments.
Thank you, Leanne. Just one quick addition to the question on response times. Leanne, Superintendent spoke from the operational perspective, from the budget perspective. The City of Toronto is going through budget consultations now, January, and the budget is passed in early February. So as citizens, you have the right, and I encourage the Chamber to activate the voice of your members, because the budget is what dictates how many officers are hired. And also, there is a unique challenge in City of Toronto that we're losing officers who are leaving for other jurisdictions. So it's a problem that needs to be addressed, and not just the number of officers, but the right kind of officers as well, to stay within our ranks and to address these problems. Thank you.
Hi there, folks. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Lionel Loganathan. I'm the Common Sense Conservative candidate here in Markham, Thornhill, where the Chamber is located. I want to thank all of you for being here today. Look, I think it's very clear who's doing their part. I think it's also very clear who's not here. None of our Liberal MPs are here. So the MP for Markham Thornhill, Markham Unionville, Markham Stouffville, Scarborough North, Scarborough Rouge Park, Scarborough Agincourt, these are all people that have voted for Bill C-75. That is the bail reform bill that is allowing the courts to release these criminals over and over and over again. So no matter how much work these guys do, they're allowed to come back out and allowed to continue their chaos in our streets. So one thing that we can promise that we're going to do, our Conservative government under the leadership of Pierre Poilievre, we are going to repeal Bill C-75. So if you commit the crime, you are going to go to jail. You are not going to get bail if you're a repeat offender. It only makes sense that you're not allowed to leave until you answer for the crimes you've already committed. Our leader always says the most productive people right now in our society seem to be the criminals. The second thing is our associate minister did a wonderful job making the case for all the other things that we need to fix federally, including our borders. Right now, when those cars are stolen and they're put on shipping containers, and they basically say it's furniture, but it's actually a car. Part of that problem is we're not scanning those containers. So our commitment has been that we're going to scan those containers before they leave. So, so please thank you so much.
Sorry. So just stick to the question, guys, without making a speech, please. Stick to the question, your name, your company name, and question. Thank you.
Hello, Vanakkam. My name is Matt. I'm a representative for one of the largest association. I'm not a jewelry owner. I'm one of the representative for the Durham Travel Association, one of more than 600 members in my Durham Travel Association. I just got a question here. Regarding two questions, just make it faster because so many questions, so many people to ask. First question, I see then, thank you very much all the officials, government officials to present very briefly to us and VJFP. So you brought us from the very, bringing us how the funds working, how it's going to be into each individual, we don't know. A big round of applause to you too, and all the person also give a big round of applause to them, please kindly. And my two questions are, actually I've seen Toronto Police and York Regional Police cooperate with this meeting here today. And I'm just wondering about my Durham Police, Durham Regional Police. Are you guys collaborating with them to sharing their ideas or right now? That's the first question. And the second question will be, reform the bail form. So how are we going to be approach the federal government to reform the form? How will it take, how as a community, how are we going to be approached through provincial government to the federal government to modify the form to be a little harder or make it little, the way, is really seem frustrated. So people are getting frustrated easily. How this? So there's two questions. First of all, because I'm representing almost 600 people for the Durham. So how's the jewelry owners and small stores owner, everyone. I can share the idea, whatever I am gained today, and also seconding the reform, the bail form. That's 2 questions. Thank you.
I'll answer the first question in relation to Durham Regional Police and liaising. Absolutely, we do. I can say that 43 Division and 42 Division, we have regular meetings with our detective sergeants with both York Regional Police and Durham Regional Police. And we actually do it on every single level. At the inspector's level here with different hold-up squads, they liaise on trends and in certain cases. And we do it at the, what I spoke about earlier, at the chief's level and at different, through the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police. So we are in constant communication, and my detective sergeant and our staff sergeants like daily, so speak with Durham Regional Police.
Thank you, Madina, for that question. Thank you, Madina, for that question, and thanks to the brother for talking about how can we fight to reform the bail system. First off, I understand and acknowledge the frustration in the both voices and the both questions, because when I speak to my constituents in Scarborough Park, I hear they don't know where to go. Whether it's auto theft or jewelry shop or any breaking, they don't know where to go. Of course, they go to the police, but after that, they kind of feel like they are